Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Real World Basics. Today we are going to be talking about how much stuff actually costs. So today's video is going to help break down costs that are associated with common expenses that you'll encounter in the real world. So since many of these expenses are not always clear-cut as they appear to be, it's really important to consider all the possible factors surrounding the purchase you're looking to make before you actually make that purchase. So I don't have any outside resources to go along with today's video. This is because the process for determining costs are so varied and expansive because it depends wildly on the person, what they're looking for, their lifestyle, finances, where you live, etc. So what it does require is a bit of legwork on your end, but a little later on in today's video, we'll go over a few ways to help you stay on top of costs. So, in putting together today's video, I thought back to myself and said, what were the biggest financial surprises once I entered the real world? And in talking to my coworkers, we came to the conclusion that the three biggest financial surprises were furniture. Furniture was way more expensive than we thought it was going to be when we first moved out. I remember I had these grand ideas of decorating my apartment. I spent a lot of time on Pinterest, and when I actually got my first apartment and I started looking at furniture to fill my apartment, I was floored by how much everything cost. Another big cost surprise is car maintenance. So and this even applies to brand new cars, but when you purchase a car, there's a lot of upkeep associated with it, as we've discussed in previous Real World Basic videos. And it goes far beyond just filling your car up with gas when it's empty, your annual state inspection, and maybe changing the oil. So there are a lot of big costs that are associated with maintaining and upkeeping your car. A third one was pets. When I got my first pets, I thought I knew exactly what I was getting in for. I had looked at dog food at the grocery store, and that was kind of it. And I thought that was affordable to me. And once I actually got my pets, I had a dog and a cat, the veterinary care, food, illnesses, injuries, things like that, the cost was a really big surprise to me. So with those three things, we're going to go into a little bit of a game. We are going to play, how much do you think stuff actually costs? So if we look at a brand spanking new couch, how much do you think it would actually cost? So for a brand new couch, usually a sectional or a good quality fabric couch starts at about $1,000, and it goes up from there, especially if you get into different types of like material. Like a leather couch costs so much money. So a brand new couch starts at about $1,000. Now, what about a kitchen stand mixer? How much do you guys think that costs? So a kitchen stand mixer is about $300, which is really expensive considering how relatively inexpensive a simple hand mixer is, or even just like a whisk that you use by hand. Now, what about paying for Wi-Fi each month? How much do you guys think Wi-Fi costs? So there's a bunch of different Wi-Fi providers, but if you are paying for just Wi-Fi, it's about $50 a month for the service from your provider. And that's not taking into account any like routers you need to purchase or anything like that. And how about car tires. How much do you think a new tire, one single tire, costs? So I used my car for the pricing. I drive a Pontiac G6, and basic tires start at 120 per tire. And that's just regular tires. Once you get into the fancy all-season tires and winter tires, really high-end stuff, it just goes up from there. And you have 4 tires, so multiply that by 4. And finally, how much do you think a microwave costs? A microwave starts at about $60, and that's just a freestanding basic microwave. So those were all items that I was surprised at the cost of when I first moved out. And it certainly varies person to person, but you have to start to think about how can you stay on top of costs. So the first thing you can do is to ask a professional in the field. They can provide you an estimate of all of the basic routine costs associated with a purchase or a thing you're looking at. And then they can give you their professional recommendations for what you actually need, what's just recommended, what's the top of the line, what is considered just a overall good product but does just as good of a job. So ask a professional and then ask another, and then maybe do one more. That way you get a broad view of the costs that are needed, because it'll vary between business and business. So getting multiple opinions will definitely help. Building on those multiple opinions and outside recommendations, the second tip is do your research online. Check forum boards for people who have already made the purchase. Read reviews. Look at competitor websites. Maybe they price match. So if you can find it cheaper, that's always a good idea to ask. So always see where you can save a little bit of money, and to verify that the price you're paying is a fair price across the board. Now, the third tip is to purchase items secondhand. It is way cheaper and more environmentally friendly to do so. It is also a good idea if you move a lot, are messy, or you want to focus your funds on other things. So it's like when you, like when purchasing a car. If you purchase a brand spanking new car, the second you drive it off the lot, regardless of if it's still in like pristine condition, its value drops severely. So purchasing secondhand is a lot of the time just as good as purchasing something brand new, but you save a lot of money doing so. The fourth tip is consider sales. So sales are great for one-time purchases because you actually do save money. But for ongoing costs or like subscriptions or something like that, make sure you know the actual cost before you sign up. I have a side story for this. When I first signed up for Wi-Fi, when I moved out, I thought we had gotten a great deal. It was only like $25 a month for just basic Wi-Fi. That was all we used, all we needed. So it turns out it was a promotional sale for first-time customers. And when it ran out, our Wi-Fi was actually like $66 a month. So needless to say, I was really confused and unprepared for that, but there was nothing we could do about it. The sale had run out. They couldn't give us anything else. So make sure you know the actual cost when you are making a purchase with a sale on it. The final tip is to consider working in a field for an employee discount. This is definitely on a case-by-case basis, so this only applies if it makes sense for you, even just briefly. So you can take advantage of employee discounts, and you also get an insider look at how prices are calculated and what the trends and topics are in the field. So for me, before I started working in the libraries after I graduated college, I looked at my monthly budget and I thought, what am I spending the most money on? And for me, that was my pets. I have a big dog, I've got a cat. Both of them are a little high maintenance. So I started working in veterinary clinics to help offset medical bills, monthly prevention, vaccines, and food. So those were all things that I used my employee discount for because that's what made the most sense for me at the time. So you can apply that to your life if that works for you. So everything costs money, and keeping track of all of it can be a bit much. But this is where your lovely monthly budget can come in handy. You can either start budgeting or saving for items in advance if you know their cost, or you can know how much you have available in your budget for purchases. Either way, the costs of goods and just living can be alarming and unexpected. So all you can really do is try to prioritize your needs and essential purchases first. So next week, we are going to start talking about the different elements of banking and the ways to spend and receive money. So as always, thank you so much for joining me this week, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or suggestions for videos you'd like to see in upcoming real world basic videos, either through social media or email. I will see you guys next week. Bye.